This is your host, Shylo Eckstrom, and you are tuning in to Grit and Grace. Real people, real conversations, and real grit. Cancel culture, COVID ass, and the difference between a comrade, a confidant, and a colleague. This is Grit and Grace. I am Shylo Eckstrom. Let's get started. Hey everyone, super excited to be on here today and chat with you about some things that are on my mind. And we're not doing a guest today because I just wanted to hop in. And this episode is really about what's happening right now and what's going on in the world of cancel culture. And why I wanted to talk about it is because I've seen and I've experienced some of these things, but cancel culture is happening, and whether you like this person or not, I just feel like we need to address it because we're seeing people losing their careers. We're seeing people completely get canceled for one mistake or something that's taken out of context and destroying their world. And why I think it's so serious is I think we've become a culture of babies. And now I'm not saying that people haven't done horrible things and said horrible things, but there's also people who said what they felt, and because somebody is offended, we're going to destroy their world. And I just don't feel that's okay. I think it was Gina Serrano. Am I saying that right? She was a Star Wars actress, Mandalorian. And she had tweeted a few things. I was watching, I looked at the tweets, and I didn't take them wrong. I think she had a tweet, referring to the Jews, and people said she was comparing Republicans to Jews, and it got really taken to another level. And I was watching her on an interview with Ben Shapiro, and he gave her the opportunity to explain herself. And as she was explaining it, and you could tell in her interview, she was shaking. I mean, she had just lost her job. She lost an incredible role. And now there are going to be some people who are like, well, she shouldn't say these things. But if you actually read what she wrote and not read what someone said she wrote, you actually read it and took the right context, and it was broken down. This is a person who is a young woman who maybe doesn't understand completely the political world, which, let's be honest, unless you're an expert, you don't. And I think we're taking people's word for something, and then we are allowing people to use it. And now it could happen to anyone. It could happen to me. It could happen to you. And this is what scares me. I'm not for either side on cancel culture. You know what? It's free speech. And this is what scares me. It scares me that free speech is being threatened. And it should not apply to just one side. And I don't care what side you're on. I think you should have your opinion. Now, you may offend people. There are going to be people who are offended by how my hair looks today. There are going to be people offended by my voice. There are going to be people offended that I'm wearing a fake fur jacket. It doesn't matter. What I'm concerned with, though, is that if people in power decide they don't like my voice, and people in power decide they don't like my photos, that you could cancel me by using whatever I say and making it towards your agenda, meaning it can mean anything. And I know a lot of people can relate to this. And again, I'm not on either side. I have friends on every side of the aisle. I support and love everybody. I truly do. But we have to become a culture of forgiveness again. And why Grit and Grace is so important is there's going to be times where you have to stand up and say, you might have to stand up for somebody else and to save them. And it might not go towards your agenda. I mean, what if your family member disagrees with you? Are you going to cancel them? Well, sadly, it's becoming that way. And I think we have to remember This is politics. This is a game. And many people don't understand the game and they get very emotionally wrapped up. I'm not putting anyone down. I've been emotionally wrapped up. When I first got involved, actually paying attention, meaning I voted, when I started voting, I would get so emotional around it. And as you grow and as you kind of watch the same patterns and how the media may manipulate it and things, the words got twisted. When you actually just watch it for yourself, you take the emotion out and you just look at it for what it is. What are the facts? What was actually said? You might not like everything that I say. You might not like everything that your spouse says, but do you cancel them? We have to get back to agreeing to disagree. We have to get back to learning to forgive. When I listened to Gina, and this is why I was really concerned, because when I watch a woman who was passionate and excited, and I watched her potentially lose her career, and her explanation was fantastic, and I could relate to it because I'm like, I could see how this happened. You fire up a certain crowd, and I'm not saying in specific, I'm saying in general. If you fire up a certain crowd and they may have the power at the time and they decide to cancel you, you're canceled. I want you to think about this though, because I know there's emotion around it, but this is where emotional intelligence comes in. We have to be better as a society, as a world, on learning forgiveness. Because one day it's going to be you. One day you might be in a position where somebody goes back 15 years and looks at a tweet you did and they use it against you, and you're going to need forgiveness. I mean, I wouldn't want 21-year-old Shylo, thank God we didn't have Twitter, to be commenting on things I didn't have enough knowledge, education, or anything on. I was just freaking emotional. I was emotional. It's not hard to get people emotional. It isn't. When you're running around, it's already a stressful time. We have a pandemic. We had a crazy political situation going on. And then throw in all this stuff, this emotional triggers, and everyone's reacting and reacting and reacting. We have to get back to being calm and looking at the facts. And I don't know all the facts, but I'm also humble enough and own that I don't know all the facts. And I've made massive mistakes because of emotions. I don't agree with cancel culture. I think people have a right to express their mind and then explain it as well. And then you have these people, and I've apologized for things I've said. I own it. I have said things that, were taken out of context, or I said in emotional states, and there's been forgiveness, but also there was tough challenges after I've said that. We all have to own what we say. I agree. You have to be 100% accountable, correct? 100% accountable for what you do and say. But I think there's a fine line of, okay, I said this, and being able to apologize genuinely and moving forward if you're truly apologetic. What I see is these celebrities getting picked apart, and they're so afraid of losing their, not just celebrities, professional athletes. This is happening all over the place. You see these professional athletes apologizing for stuff that I'm like, what is offensive about this? Okay, so it offended 5 people. I'm not saying it's not a big deal. What I'm saying is, okay, but now you're having them write an apology that isn't their apology, because now they're just trying to say, well, I was passionate about it, but I'm going to get fired, and you don't want that either. We want to be very careful that we are allowed to speak our mind without losing everything. With that being said, there are people in this world that are highly offensive, but I'm not canceling them. Let them say it. You choose to listen to them. Let people choose who they want to listen to. Let people choose who they want to work with. Let people choose. We're just becoming so wound tight with things. Everything is becoming canceled. And one day you will be. And this isn't, yeah, I mean, let's be honest, there's a side of the aisle that doesn't get canceled as often, but they still do. And here's the thing, the same people that you think are on your team, one day they won't be, and they're going to cancel you. And I'm talking about in politics, in big major issues. So we have to be better. And what I encourage everybody is always do this. There are people who do bad things. And that's what the justice system's for. And you know what? There is a time where people stand up, and I salute that. I love that people stand up for what they believe in. You should, on both sides of the aisle. And I'm not trying to make this as political. I'm just trying to make this as general, because I think this is a general issue. This isn't just in politics. This is in life. We have to learn to listen to opposing viewpoints without making that person our enemy. And now there are situations where you're not going to agree at all, and it could be offensive and hurtful, and that's okay. I mean, no, you don't have to be around people, but you get to choose that. No one's force feeding people to you. And so I think grabbing onto emotional intelligence is so key right now in this world. And you know, I have softened my views so much. And I get fired up sometimes, and I have to walk it back and go, you know what, though? I don't understand that person 100%. I haven't walked in their shoes. I don't know the whole story, which most of us don't. No one knows my whole story. No one knows what's going on, you know, and so it's very easy to look at maybe a tweet, and you could pick it apart 85 different ways, right? My challenge to everybody on here is, let's be better humans. Let's practice forgiveness again. And there are a lot of people who do deserve forgiveness. And there's some people who you can forgive them, but you don't have to forget it. But you can choose to listen to them. You can choose to watch them. You can choose to do business with them. That's the beautiful thing about where we live. We live in a first world country with champagne problems, most of us. And I'm not saying all of us. There are people going through hard times. But when I look at my stuff, I'm like, I need to look at other people's situations. There are people going through terrible times. There are people who are hungry. There are people who don't have money to pay their rent. And we need to be loving. But we need to practice grace, forgiveness, because that's what the good book says, right? And you don't have to believe in God, but a higher power. There's something greater than all of us, right? Whatever you believe in, tap into it. But I think we just need a lot more grace and forgiveness. I've needed it. I've made mistakes. What I hope that people see in me is that I take 100% accountability for my mistakes in my life, in that I turn them around and do my best with them. But if people wouldn't have given me grace or forgiveness, I wouldn't be here. That makes me tear up a little bit. Because it's not okay to ruin someone's life because you don't agree with them. And I think that's where we're going. And I think it'll stop. I think we're better. I think people are starting to go, oh, hey, well, I didn't agree with this. Are you going to cancel me? And that doesn't matter what side you're on, because cancel culture will affect everyone eventually. And I just think we need to be better. All right. That was serious. Let's talk about really quick, because I'm going to have some content on this too. Your confidants are your best friends. Your colleagues are who you work and respect. And your comrades, they're with you for the fight and then they leave. Okay. So what are you doing to separate these people? I think a lot of people, there are people in your life that they are your best friends all the time. Like, oh my God, you're my friend. That means you're my best friend. They tell you everything. But are they really your best friend? So if you want to be successful in all areas, this is something I've had to learn too, because I used to make this mistake in business. I've spoke about it on stage. I've talked about it, is your confidants are 1 to 2 people usually. Some people have a lot of best friends. I would say that most people have 1 to 2. And identify that. Now your confidants, they're your ride or dies. You can tell them anything. They're going to stick by you. You can make tons of mistakes. They love you. They're going to laugh it off. They're going to pat you on the back, and they're going to give you tough love. But they're still going to be there. Those are your confidants. Your colleagues are the people you work with on a day-to-day. You respect the hustle. You work with them, but they are not the people you go telling your secrets and your dark stuff too. This is a big mistake in business, because when you do that, you allow people who may not have your back or may not be with you to break apart things when you make a mistake. Your colleagues are there to work with you. You don't have to love them. They don't have to be your best friends, but respect them and know the difference. This is a big one. I think this one really hurts people, because in business, I've been hurt. I used to think everyone was my best friend. I would tell people like, oh, I'm going to share my secrets and be super vulnerable. There's a time and place for that. And there's a good trust factor, but your colleagues are the people that you support, respect, and hustle with, but not share your deepest, darkest secrets with. Don't bring them on your roller coaster. Okay. And so that's my business tip for the day. Your comrades, they're your fun ones. They're going to come with you. If you got a cause, if you're like, I don't like this, they're going to not like it too, because they're on that ride with you and they're like, screw the man, we're going to do this. And they're going to be your ride or dies for a period of time. They also are not people you confide in, but the minute that the cause is over, the minute that the fight is over, they're out the door, man. They might like you, but they're not sticking with you. They're gone. So you need to know the difference. This is super important, because this will also help you not get so burnt in business. I know in business, I have felt burnt. I've probably been this person. I've probably been a comrade at one time. I've probably been just a colleague at one time. And people treated me like a confidant, and people treated me, more than I should have been. And maybe I disappointed. We all go through this. We all are these people at one point in our life. I just really think it's important for people to know the difference. And this is just a tidbit of this kind of business tip today, but I really think it's important for you to identify that. So today, when you're done with this episode, break it down. Who are your confidants? And don't say everybody. Stop it. Get over yourself. You do not have 35 best friends. You've got one or two. One could be your spouse. One could even be your mother. I'm just saying that, who do you really trust? Ride or dies, they've got your back no matter what. Your colleagues, you might have some close colleagues and you might have great relationships, but they're colleagues. Know the difference. Don't put all your eggs in a basket. Love, support, and respect them. And you don't have to love everyone you work with, but respect them. All right? That's important. There's a lot of lack of respect. And there's a lot of competition. And I think that's what happens with colleagues. Competition. Know that there's always someone waiting for you to fail to fill your spot. Don't ever let your guard down on that. Someone's always ready to out hustle you, or the minute you fall, they're ready to walk right over you to take your spot. Be strong. Stop thinking everyone's your best friend. This is really important. And then your comrades. Just know that they're there for the cause and they're gone. Don't expect them to stay. They're there for a season, man. They're there for a season, baby, and then they're out. And then they're out. It's super important to know those differences. I've been hurt, and I've probably hurt people. I know I've hurt people. Not intentionally. No one comes in intentionally to hurt somebody, right? But I think it's super important. COVID ass. Let's talk about it really quick, and then we'll wrap this up. I told you it's a short, sweet episode, but I really wanted to address this. We all have COVID ass right now. We have been sitting on our computers, and it's flattening out, baby. It's flattening out. We got to get our squats back. I was looking in the mirror the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to really lift my butt here. I have to get back to yoga. I have to do all the things. I got to do get the bands and do the booty bands and get the sides lifted, do the clam. If anyone knows what the clam is, you look like a crazy person. But I bet you if you look at your butt right now, most business people, you probably have COVID ass after this last year, and that's okay. It used to be called boat ass, right? You get up and you feel like your butt's all flat. Nah, we all have some COVID ass. We all have some COVID ass. I want to thank all of my listeners so far. We've had some incredible reviews. Honestly, this podcast it's going better than I thought. We've got some really exciting things coming. But I want to challenge everybody who listens in, write a review, but also work on grace. One of the reasons I did this podcast too was to show people a really vulnerable side of me, and to show people that there's a lot of forgiveness in me, and also that's been given to me. in my life. And without it, I wouldn't be here. And I've said that earlier, but I really do mean it. I'm an example of why forgiveness is a big deal. And I've almost been canceled a few times. It brings me back to the cancel culture. There are really great people who've made incredible mistakes. They're not perfect. Like, look at some of the people we praise now, but imagine if we had this type of culture back in the day. I mean, Einstein, I think, cheated on his wife with his cousin or something. I mean, could you imagine? And like, just some of those things. I mean, that's like pop culture type stuff. But think about people who've made serious mistakes and got to share their suck or share that part of it. Many people that you love and adore had some serious missteps and were able to come back from it. We're creating a generation in this environment right now that we're not going to have those stories. Why is suicide up so much? Bullying, cancel culture is a form of bullying. There's a time and a place to say, hey, I'm not going to watch that film, or I'm not going to do this. Fine. But when I see people who are genuinely sorry, and thank God Gina got picked up by the Daily Wire and having her produce a movie, I'm pretty sure, which is fantastic. But it was Disney. Think about like an actress dream. She came into it. I think she was an MMA fighter. I was learning about her this weekend. Y'all, and you might not like these people, but one day it's going to be someone you like. One day it's going to be you or your mom or your spouse that's on the chopping block. And I just challenge you to practice forgiveness. And there's a lot of bad people out there too, that they probably should go to jail for some things. And you don't have to listen to them. But I just think we shouldn't be destroying people. That's not our job. There's a difference between not supporting and trying to destroy someone, because that's serious. I almost took my life 2 years ago. I was at the lowest of my life. Thankfully, it wasn't for cancel culture, but my life was being chipped away and destroyed by money. And I will tell you, I sat there and I finally, something clicked, and I was like, this isn't that bad. You have champagne problems. Champagne freaking problems. You're healthy. You have a home. You're safe. You're living in a free country. You have beautiful, healthy children. What are you doing? But I got pushed to a point so bad by something that was trying to destroy me. I couldn't see that. I couldn't see past it. And sometimes we get beat up on social media and we put ourselves out there, and there's adult bullies, people. Your kids don't learn it from other kids. They learn it from you. What are we teaching our children? So as I wrap this, we need to be better humans. We need to practice grace and forgiveness. We need to agree to disagree. But honestly, work on being open to hearing an opposing view. And listen, you don't have to love it, but you don't have to cancel them. You don't have to hate them. They're not your enemy. Not everyone's your enemy. I love so many people on so many different parts of the aisle, the sides of the aisle, the world, different cultures and beliefs. And you know what? Some of the best people don't agree with everything that I agree with, and we butt heads, but I still think they're great humans. And I think it's fun to have people that don't 100% agree with you. Have fun with it. We all have to get up today and work on our COVID ass. Got to work on it. Get some squats, get the clam out, get those bands. and know the difference between a confidant, that's your ride or die, your colleague, your work partner, and the person you respect, and your comrade. Know those differences, and you will have an amazing business experience and also in life. You won't feel like you're getting burned all the time. Because when you know who's got your back, you're good. So thank you for listening to this awesome short and sweet episode. I am Shylo Eckstrom, and this has been another episode of Grit and Grace. Thank you for listening to and watching Grit and Grace. Subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple iTunes to listen, and download the Lux TV app to watch anytime, anywhere.
Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. Elevated sense of well-being. Supports muscle strength and endurance. Cognitive function. Powerful liver support. Energy. Helps blood sugar regulation. Superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the marketplace.